I'm not stopping you.
I'm stuck in the voice, Amy, please. I need,
no
I need
escape.
to break out of it. Oh, here we go, down into the... Anyway, game's ready. Here we are, Irelia versus Lee. So, power of Irelia, it's very individual unit focused. It's pseudo-Voltron is what I'll call it, where you are relying... Oh, we're going to talk about Lee Sin first.
Let's chat Lee Sin first. Let's pivot. Okay, so speaking of charm, and all of those wonderful spells that we were just talking about in our luscious voice for Ari, we're actually using Lee Sin instead. And Lee Sin's whole thing is, again, making units buff, and we love that. I love playing Set in set 1, and this can have a little bit of that kind of in the mix as well. This one, not so much, going with a much more pure Lee Sin build. Not a lot of units, but a lot of buffing, a lot of thwonking, not so fast, bringing your own kind of stance into play and saying, whatever you do, I've got something bigger, I've got something better. I don't need lots of units to achieve that. I just need to make the ones I've got meaningful. Yeah, and achieving the card draw as well through Stellarcorn Herder and Show of Strength, which allows you just a little bit extra card draw, which sometimes you can struggle for on these sort of low unit builds like the Lee Sin. Irelia, a deck that we have seen many times, or will see many times throughout this tournament already. The addition of Siren, relatively new, I'd say, in the last couple of months into this deck in terms of being able to choose the unit, moving them around from a battlefield to your base. It also gives you a trigger on your Blade Dancer and on your Fervent for the when you choose a Ready Me, and then you can pay power as well to get the readies from the Blade Dancer. But as I alluded to earlier, we've got a really similar build here in both decks. We've got very similar green utilization with our Stellarcorn Herders for the card draw, Defy, Charm, and those are the cards that played at the right times against one another are going to be what brings our champion into the limelight. Yeah, I think the major differences are we're kind of looking at, you know, the purple package really does help Irelia in these sorts of moments. The ability to get the Tide Turners out. You can play Audaciouses as well. Defiant Dance, just probably the best signature spell in the game. I mean, Riposta's up there as well, but really powerful. Alongside that, you can look at things like Stack Deck for that extra card draw. On the side of Lee Sin, Orange does give you a little bit of strength, like Show of Strength does allow you that card draw as well, but it is very buff reliant. So you can see both these players want to be choosing units at battlefields. Double Dreaming Tree is where we are going to kick things off. And it's a really important utilization in this matchup. It kind of makes game 1 important now because you know you're not going to have access to Dreaming Tree either of the other 2 games. So picking your battlefield and choosing the right one for the right game is imperative, and I think this actually puts much more pressure on game 1 than either of these players particularly want. Starting out with a Lonely Poro, of course he's going to get buff, so that's our first buff in play for Lee Sin, who absolutely wants to make sure that we're getting those buff tokens all across the board. I mean, buffs like this are actually really helpful when you think of trading patterns, right? If the Irelia can be playing Stellarcorn Herder that comes out with 3 might, and you're paying 4 energy to equal the 3 energy cost of a Lonely Poro that now matches you in terms of might. So Lonely Poro obviously wants to be dying alone, but if you can manage to get a trade in on something like the Stellarcorn Herder, it actually allows you just that little bit of advantage. And Lee Sin really nice in these sorts of spaces. It does look like we had maybe a slight judge call as after the Lonely Poro came down and got buffed. Seems like our Irelia player maybe has a slight concern on exactly what is happening there. So we'll find out exactly what happened there, but I think it's a little bit like the Draven Mirror, where you really need to think about where you're utilizing your resources. 100%. You have to be so cognizant of, if I do this, these are the compounding domino effects from this point. It's the consequences of my actions. Yeah, well, if I start something, is it going to come back at me, or am I going to get away with it? Yeah, well, I don't like thinking about the consequences of my action most of the time, Amy. I try to avoid them whenever I can, but for now, the consequences of that first turn is that Lee Sin has that Lonely Poro. Sneaky Deckhand out, something you do see often on turn 2 for these Irelia players, or turn 1 if you're playing second. Sneaky Deckhand onto the Dreaming Tree will get you a draw. Still all chaos on the side of the Irelia, but thankfully actually not too much power usage in terms of her buffs. You're looking at Discipline does cost 2, but On Guard is only 1. So if you want to On Guard just for the Dreaming Tree trigger, you can get that draw with that Chaos Rune. Very worthwhile kind of first point there, just kind of getting in there, because again, both of these decks rely on trying to use those combat tricks against one another to be able to take the battlefield. We still have the other Dreaming Tree, so Poro, not being quite so lonely, could hop over into there to maybe find some friends, but at the moment, it just kind of is a clear game, or we can go and try and start dealing with Yoguruichi's sneaky deckhand, but again, there's one standing over on their side, so it can be a bit risky. We're just going for the Poro into the open Dreaming Tree for that first one as well. And then, ooh, a spicy pick, going in with a Sona, straight in there with the lonely Poro. Not so lonely no more.
That is a bit of a surprise. Don't usually see Sona in these Lee Sin decks, but what it does allow you to do is have those spell battles when it's not your turn, right? Irelia very reliant on, I put my Irelia in, I'm choosing her, I'm readying her, I'm, you know, discipline and on guard and things like this to get all of those spells out. But if you can be fighting against that with your Sona, readying 4 runes, it puts you in a really solid spot. I like this tech.
I really enjoy that it was played at this stage of the game as well, specifically when we're really low on runes. It's really towards the beginning of the game, and you're having to rely on those for spending and spell casting during your opponent's turn, which is absolutely fantastic. We've moved on, gone ahead and of course scored the extra point for Yoguruichi there, and we're back on to Powerspyke's turn. We're ramping really fast at this stage. We've got a Lonely Poro and Sona at the Dreaming Tree, both with buffs. So we're in a great position here, really strong already units on the board, and not much yet from Yoguruichi to kind of show that there's anything that's going to kind of weaken that stronghold right now.
And because you have the Sona, you can do things like this, tapping out to play the Lee Sin, to get that centered on the battlefield, knowing you immediately get 4 runes back. Like, Lee Sin is now out, all the other buff-friendly units at that battlefield are getting +2.
That's huge.
It's massive. So you had 8 power previously, +4 is 12, plus the Lee Sin itself is 6. That is 18 power at that one battlefield with the Lee Sin coming out. Really good stuff here from Powerspyke early on. Don't think he activated his legend to get the Lee Sin buff out, but deciding against leaving that Lee Sin with a buff. Maybe wanted, oh no, because he tapped out for it, so he couldn't then use the legend. I was confused because he had 4 runes on tap. But
no, but those are the end of the turn effect from Sona, saying the symphony never ends. She's bringing the runes back into play, and it looks like we're
the flavor text on Sona. Nice.
I am. Nice. I know, right? We're learning them. Then if we get quizzed later, we might remember some.
True. So what have we got in hand?
We got a Thwonk.
A Thwonk.
I like a good Thwonk.
Sunlit Guardian is nice as well.
Is that Leona?
I think it was a Lucian. Relentless near the
back.
I
was going to say, that makes a lot more sense.
They're going to chuck that Sunlit Guardian out. It does have tank and shield. We'll buff it as well with the legend. So it does feel like Powerspyke is very much investing into the I will control this one battlefield. I'll try and get ahead on that and then see where we go from there. At some point, we'll need to deal with the fact there's another Dreaming Tree that is being controlled by that Stellarcorn Herder. And here comes the Lucian. Interestingly, deciding to buff the Sunlit Guardian instead of the Lucian. Did have the option to go for either.
Yeah, Lucian's nice, but it also does, like, he has that first conquer each turn. He can ready, so he has a bit of flexibility later anyway, and we can buff things later on. So I think they were just trying to get that stronghold on the Dreaming Tree with many, many units. Lonely Poro, not so anymore, with many friends who are quite strong. And I think, you know, when we maybe get something like a Zonya's in later as well, it's just going to even further amplify the strength of that board power, and just taking a kind of slow approach to saying, I'm just going to leave these guys here, I'm going to get a point every turn minimum. And Yoguruichi now has the struggle of coming up back against that, but there are a lot of units flooding the base now. We've got more Stellarcorn Herders, which are going to be great for card draw, so that really does influence the pace of play.
Yeah, puts the sneaky decking back onto the Dreaming Tree. Already held there this turn, so won't get another point for that. But Stellarcorn Herder is so good when it's uncontested, when you don't have things like a Hidden Blade, Call of the Week, anything to kill those off, because you are drawing so many cards. They can move into the Dreaming Tree, draw 2 cards. Next turn, they move out of the Dreaming Tree, draw 2 cards, and you're just cycling through your deck incredibly quickly. We already see the stack deck coming out. This is what Purple does so well. This is what Chaos does so well, and Yoguruichi is really using it effectively. Obviously, with the calm, Stellarcorn Herders doing an incredible job so far. Now, The Lucian is sitting at 3 might. We have a sneaky deckhand there as well, and this is where I feel like we'll get into a little bit of a war. As we have the pass of focus. Yoguruichi's going to discipline to get the +2 Dreaming Tree trigger and the discipline for the draw. Reaction with a discipline of our own, allowing Powerspyke to get a double draw as well. Puts the Lucian up to 5.
This is honestly kind of what I was expecting from this, is that they would just do exactly this, where they both got enough runes to be able to play these. Oh, but something a bit more unique there.
Yeah, going in with the Defiant Dance. Incredible card overall. Here, just going to buff up the sneaky deckhand and reduce down that Lucian a little bit. So it will be 5 into less than 5, 2. And then the discipline will resolve. And we have the draws coming out from the Dreaming Tree. It was a reaction war overall. So now the -2 from the Defiant Dance is taken off by the +2 from the discipline, leaving Lucian still at 3. I believe Sneaky Deckhand goes all the way up to +4, so it's 6 in total.
Altogether, yep. So we've still got the upper hand there. But are they going to react even further? Because that's the beautiful thing about this. And we are going in again with another discipline, another +2 at a draw 1.
And there we are. So, but you need something else here for Powerspyke. You're still sitting at 5 into 6. You want another buff. Okay, quick draw out that Sterex gauge that we saw earlier on. Because of the quick draw, you can play it as a reaction. It immediately binds, well, can be equipped to this Lucian that will put him over the top with that +3 might.
Beautiful. Weapons Master coming into play. I think the first time we've seen it personally.
What is this? This is
every time
true control magic from these two players. Fight or flight at the end to knock the Lucian back after so much was invested. Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. Counters a spell that targets a gear or a unit you control. Huge investment by Powerspyke. But remember, he has this Sona. He's going to untap 4 runes at the end of the turn and can move that Lucian back out of the Dreaming Tree if he wants. And so now he has the option of, do I stick to just controlling 1? I've overtaken Yoguruichi on points.
Oh, we're hiding a card. We're adding insult to injury, going, you know what, this Dreaming Tree, it could be bigger. I'm going to put a hidden card there as well. That can be activated later, just for fun. But you're right. I love this Sona choice of card in this deck, but I also love the pacing that it was played at right at the beginning of the game, just to give him that advantage, always being able to react back to Yoguruichi's kind of really heavy combat tricks.
Yeah. And this is how you have to play into Irelia. If you're going to try and match them like this, you need to have that extra card. You need to be that 1 step ahead. Staying on that southern Dreaming Tree, you'll call it, the bottom Dreaming Tree, is an interesting choice because you are ahead in terms of points. You're at 5 to 4. You could just look for the hold. Here, looking for a double hold, knowing that you have those 4 extra runes available from the Sona Harmonious trigger.
In a really, really advantageous position here. For Powerspyke. I'm really impressed by how they've used the not only effect of Lee Sin, but also managing to sequence this really beautifully to make sure that they have everything in their core. But 2 Stellacorn Hoarders, all of this.
Yeah, so I have realized now the reason you leave the Lucian on is if the Stellacorn Hoarders move
Herders, gosh, we're going.
Herders.
Yeah,
so
gosh,
Stellacorn Herders move in, then you don't want to give them a free conquer, right? So you have to play the flash to bring them back as Yoguruichi drew double charm off the top of the move in. I didn't see what the second 2 cards were, but now with the flash being used, you get another 2 cards from those Stellacorn Herders, but Powerspyke still holds onto the battlefield, and you only have 1 unit that is ready this turn. You only have your Irelia Fervent.
It's just not enough, and that's the thing. When these kind of decks that want to hold their point on the battlefield manage to do that with such strength like Powerspyke is, it can be really hard for Yoguruichi to come back, even through drawing loads of cards. They have drawn so many cards this turn. I'm sure the mathematicians in chat will be able to tell me exactly how many cards they've drawn this turn. Is it 5 extra? That's wild.
4 extra and the 1 for the turn,
and
right?
The 1 for the turn.
2 and 2 and
5
then 1.
So far.
Yeah, 5 so
That's huge. That's a lot of cards in this game. Remember, we've got smaller deck sizes than a lot of other games, and actually it can be really hard to cycle through those sometimes. Of course, really taking a moment to think here, because you're right, 1 unit's just not enough, and we can't move the Stellacorn. Oh, fight or flight. Okay, trying to push back to try and not allow the extra hold point, and it's successful. I don't think you mind too much though, because you go to 6 and then it's 7-8. So I feel like that's kind of okay when we're thinking about the way the game will play out. And again, Yoguruichi's got a long way to go to pull this game back in their favor.
It pays for the fight or flight. We do have to remember with Blade Dancer, if you play an exhausted unit and then you choose it, you can ready it with the Blade Dancer, pay a power for that, so you could have a pseudo-accelerated extra unit out here, but you look at the size of that hand and you look at the energy costs on the top left corner of the cards whenever we see them from Yoguruichi, they all look relatively cheap to me. I'm not seeing another Irelia Fervent sitting there. I'm not seeing an easy way to get a lot of might out onto the battlefield.
And using up your resources, the cheaper ones that are great for pushing things back and having those combat tricks, using them now to not a great effect is only weakening your play for later. And we need those bigger units at this point in the game to be able to stand up. But we're riding the wind, okay.
So once the extra move from the Stellarcorn Herder, can choose it, and is going to use the ready from the Ride the Wind as well. So there's a move, there's a draw, there's a point, taking us up to 5. Bring it back for another draw. That was a Defiant Dance. So we have 2 charms and a Defiant Dance at least in hand. Can't quite see what the rest of the cards are. Irelia is going to go in on her lonesome. And a Guardian Angel to be equipped. Okay, so Guardian Angel is Zhonya's equipment in essence. If Irelia would die, instead we recall her after healing and exhausting her, and she just goes back to base.
Which is great. We're trying to say, okay, Powerspyke, I know that you're going to ultimately need both battlefields. Now I'm playing Protect the Princess. We're going to make sure that Irelia has as much as they can in their kind of armory to make sure that we can keep this base under wraps. They just can't give it over to Powerspyke now. Now they've got it, they've got to hold it.
I love Protect the Princess, by the way. That's great, because I automatically goes to President. But Protect the Princess for Irelia. Really nice overall. 3 runes still available for Yoguruichi. The problem is Powerspyke is going to ready up with 8 in total. 4 more from the Harmonious. Has a hidden card at that top battlefield as well, that top Dreaming Tree. Yoguruichi taking their time right now. Just, you know, you've got to pontificate sometimes. We'll pass the turn. See all the readies coming out from Powerspyke. It's going to move to 6 with the hold on that top Dreaming Tree. And then we will see what they decide to do with this Lucian.
Yeah, we're in a bit of
Stellarcorn Herder of their own, I believe, off the top.
Not bad. We can get some card draw.
Oh, no, it was a charm. It was a charm.
Oh, it was.
That's actually huge.
Yeah, that is actually quite large. You can kind of force your opponent's Irelia into a sticky situation. But first off, I can't quite see what that card is.
Is that a Lee? The alt art is confusing.
It's a bit out of my view.
I'll have a quick mosey on the internet, and you can...
No problem at all. We'll have a little looky. But that is what Shiny Cardboard does sometimes. We are taking the Lee Sin in now from our champion area. So we're going in... Or was that the Lucian, actually? That was the Lucian that went in. So,
yeah, there's the Lucian, but there's also the really shiny...
Yes.
I think it might be Lee Sin Aesthetic?
Yes.
Oh, no, it's not.
Is it Set Brawler?
It could be Set Brawler. Actually, Set Brawler makes a lot of sense. Set Brawler makes a lot. No, but it's 6 and 6.
Oh, it is 6. Yeah,
is it the Alt Art Lee? It's the Alt Art Lee then.
Yes, must be, and that's buffed as well. So that's fantastic.
Lee centered. So that's it's
whole
also
battlefield is terrifying.
Yeah. So that all the buffed units at this battlefield get +4.
Yep.
Alongside the buff. That is, I mean, you're just looking for the hold. Double hold is what you're playing for now on Powerspyke. 100%.
You want a double hold, and then you just want to take that other Dreaming Tree, and that's it. That's game. And that's why Yoguruichi needs to start pummeling units into that lower Dreaming Tree to make sure that they do everything in their power to not allow Powerspyke to get over there, because this is going to be the troublesome thing now. How is Powerspyke going to take that Dreaming Tree if all of their units currently are over at the upper Dreaming Tree?
Yes, Dreaming Tree A, Dreaming Tree B, south and north, however you want to call them. It's even then, even if all their units aren't there, how do you take this battlefield?
Yeah, you don't.
It's 4, 10, 15, plus another. It's like 30 power. I'm sorry, I can't do maths right now, chat.
It's a lot.
It's a
more
huge
than
amount
one.
of power. Yes, much more than one.
Much more than one. And honestly, respect to it, because that is a horrifying overload of buffs and units that are working together. Again, the Sona early was absolutely beautiful. Ooh, there we go. Is that the Darius?
Yeah, it's the Draven.
It's the Draven art.
Draven.
I meant Draven.
Or Audacious, isn't
That's
it?
it.
Is it Audacious? Yeah, when you win a combat and, yeah.
Yes, you get to score a point.
Yeah. I believe, at least. The alternate arts are definitely confusing me. We're going to have the charm come across. And, yeah, it's Draven Audacious alternate art, yeah. I'm going to have the charm come across. It will target the Lonely Poro, which...
Oh, no!
I mean, but, like, a Lonely Poro dies. He can trade as well.
Yeah.
With his 3 might in the Celicorn Herd. It's something we talked about 6 points ago, that ability to trade. We'll get a draw out. It's a Defy for Powerspyke. It's just trying to, like, chip away at some of the strengths that Powerspyke has at this top battlefield, but the power there is still absolutely ginormous.
It really is. We're going up to 7 there. Just moments away from winning. We need 8 to win, but we must control that other battlefield as well. And it's looking a bit tough at this point. We've got, what, is 6, 10, 13, and then plus the gear as well. So 15 on the southern Dreaming Tree. But we've got a Defy straight off the bat there.
As far as I can work out, there is 38 power at the top Dreaming Tree.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, so we had an Emperor's Divide to move a couple of friendly units back to a battlefield, to base from a battlefield. And then we had a Defy on the Defy. So it was Defy. Emperor's Divide, Defy, Defy, Defy. Defy, 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 Fee-Fi, Fo-Fum. I smell the blood of an Irelia player.
Literally, no,
yes,
no, no.
I would prefer if you did not. And then another Emperor's Divide being shown. I don't know if this is just being played after the fact, after that Defy war. Not often you see a full 3 Defy war.
Not at all. Not that we're all in hand at the same time, but both players have had quite frivolous card draw, which has been great to see because you get to see how these decks interact in a very true way. Neither of them have what we call bricked, where they don't really get what they need. Actually, both decks have kind of got the card draw they were expecting. It's just Yoguruichi has definitely been on the back foot, but that definitely does not mean they're not still in this. 6 points, still great place to be. Yes, that battlefield is looking quite scary, but they've got power tricks of their own. They're all quite cheap. There are definitely ways where this comes out in his favor.
Yeah, there's probably a few lines. It is a struggle when you look at just how overwhelming the presence is on that top Dreaming Tree, though. It's for Yoguruichi, they've drawn a ton of cards through the Celicorn Herders, which have been basically untouched, which is usually not a position you want to be in at all playing into Irelia. You want to get rid of those Celicorns as soon as you can because they do just get like infinitesimal, not infinitesimal, infinite card advantage. Exponential is the word I was looking for, as it's back to us as there's a little bit of a judge ruling at the table. Looked like something to do with the sequence of Defies and the Emperor's Divides, but obviously
there was a lot that went on very quickly, as we know, but that's kind of the point of these decks. They're spell slinging, they're going no, 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 and that's kind of exactly what it is.
Here we are.
Is that tussle between the two, and so it can very easily happen. 2 Emperor's Divide, they're going to the discard pile, so I assume both have concluded now, and looking like all of that is coming up.
It's a scoop from Yoguruichi. Okay, with the Emperor's Divide, they go into the trash, but believe it is just a victory for our Lee Sin player. The Draven Audacious at the end, a final Hail Mary for Yoguruichi, wasn't quite able to bring it around. 3 Ukshuns and 3 Unyielding Spirits in the sideboard here for Powerspyke. Unyielding Spirit really good into Kaiser decks, really allows you to avoid a bunch of the spell damage. Ukshun really good into like Illusion decks, anyone that really is trying to Voltron with those equipments. Ornn decks as well, it works well, but don't say that I told you that, and don't play Ukshuns when I'm playing Ornn. Thank you very much.
Please, yes, please and thank you. But we saw both of these decks come through, of course. In Yoguruichi's sideboard, we might be trying to utilize a bit more of those, a few more of those comeback mechanics. The no I told you so, maybe another rebuke, maybe another not so fast, maybe a gust to really try and prevent that overwhelming position in the one Dreaming Tree that we saw, and you can kind of try and push back on your opponent a little bit more. So I like that idea as well. It's going to be a tough sideboard to figure out.
I agree. I think that the concern I have with Gust is even a Lonely Poro gets to 3. and everything apart from the Lonely Pyro is bigger than Gustable, right?
Yeah, that's
I think
so
Rebuke
true.
definitely comes in. Adaptatron, obviously, you don't really care about, right? It's although maybe for a Sterak's, but Sterak's is being used much more as a reaction buff rather than something that you're going to be able to allow the reaction, then go in and conquer. I wonder if we'll see a similar style from both the players, sort of accepting one battlefield isn't mine to start with. I'll just go to this one, you go to this one. We'll be moving away from those dreaming trees, maybe a Monastery of Hirano or something for our Lee Sin player if you're looking for that extra draw. We'll see where they both decide to go.
It's tough, and I think a very understated skill set that you need to have in Riftbound is selecting the correct battlefield at the correct time, and double dreaming tree at the beginning there meant that they were both going to be able to utilize those really heavily, and they both want that battlefield, but now actually it can get a little sticky. But it looks like they've gone with Sunken Temple and of course the Monastery of Hirano.
And that is interesting. I believe, and I know on our overlay it says Sunken Temple was played by Powerspyke. It doesn't make much sense for Yoguruichi to have played a Monastery of Hirano. So I'm going to say Powerspyke probably played the Monastery of Hirano.
It would make sense.
Because they are the ones that want to spend the buffs to draw the cards. We see an early Siren out from Yoguruichi. Really good with the Irelia, the ability to choose it for one, move it back to your base, then ready it as well with your Blade Dancer. Gives you a bunch of power. Stellacorn Herder coming out on turn 2 for them. That was the Lucian early for Powerspyke on their turn 1.
And we saw how great that Lucian played out in game 1, so I have no doubts that it's going to pull its weight in game 2 as well here. But of course that Stellacorn Herder earlier as well is really nice, having that early card draw. Could just push Yoguruichi into the power spot there, going to go for the buff on Lucian and then moving in, spending the buff to draw a card. Here we go!
Yep, this is what you want to do on these Lee Sin decks, is just get as much card draw as you can. It's one of the reasons that double dreaming tree was actually really nice for Powerspyke in turn 1, because in game 1, because you could kind of leave Yoguruichi to their own devices knowing that you'd still be drawing a bunch of cards. You see the Stellacorn Herder for a similar thing, not trying to give the Irelia any combats, just bring it back to base with the Lucian, and then we expect, you know, Yoguruichi's going to get the Stellacorn Herder out, get themselves a card, and immediately it's just getting as much information about your deck as possible is so valuable, and about what you have at the top.
They're playing completely different decks, but doing the same thing, Medic. They're doing the same thing, which brought the Stellacorn back to base, keeping it safe, being like, no, I don't want to dispatch this yet, and I want more movement out of it so that I can draw more cards. And both players are utilizing that fact incredibly well right now, both drawing as many cards as they can to give themselves that advantage.
Yeah. It's a really fun mind game overall. At the moment, Powerspyke has a small advantage because of Lucian's ability. When they conquer, you then get to ready them immediately and then bring them back. I wonder if they're going to try and put the Stellacorn into one of these battlefields, because the move is really nice.
Yes.
But then you need to be able to get back out, otherwise you are going to lose your card advantage tool, and Yoguruichi will keep theirs in response. So we'll see if this Stellacorn Herder goes out. It is also the question of whether you want to buff it with the Lee Sin first.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. I was thinking, do we want to buff first to get the card draw? I think it's really imperative at the beginning of this matchup that we do draw as many cards as possible. So we go for the buff, then go in for the conquer, draw a card here, then spend the buff to draw another card, and just ramping off that alone, I think is really powerful. You're basically doubling up the Stellacorn Herder's ability by using Lee Sin's natural prowess.
And there is the argument that you leave the Stellacorn Herder with the buff to be at 4 might, so it outmatches the opposing Stellacorn Herder. But because of the Irelia, when you ready me, you get +1. The Irelia can just go in at 5 might anyway, and it would beat out the Stellacorn Herder. Sona, once again, though, coming out from Powerspyke, a huge bit of tech that has worked so well for them so far this series.
Honestly, early Sona is an absolute godsend. We love that, and it showed how strong it was. And it's not to be underestimated, and that's why it's gone in with that Herder to make sure that it kind of has backup.
It gives you that little bit of extra might, also just allows you to have all of those runes ready again. The counter wars, the buff wars, I guess, so vital in this matchup. So, if you're Yoguruichi, you're going to put your GA down. You'll probably choose your Irelia with this. Give it a +1 for being chosen, and then +1 for the Guardian Angel, which sits underneath it. It's technically part of the card text now. It depends how they want to represent it in terms of the counters on it. I like representing the each thing individually. So it's been buffed twice, therefore it has 2 counters on it. It's -4, and it has the Guardian Angel, which shows separately.
And you can add it all up. It's not, it's little maths, it's fine. But it's, you know, it's a big enough unit to be taking both of these out, so of course we then see the Emperor's Divide.
Yeah, we're going to move both of those back to the battlefield and get a card draw from the Stellarcorn Herder.
We love that. That's a little Brucey bonus, that is.
And then Stellarcorn Herder going into the other side. I feel like Stellarcorn Herder has lost all meaning, Amy.
I don't know the word. You know when words start to sound funny because you've said it too much? I've said Stellarcorn Herder too much, and then I said it wrong earlier, and that's just...
Herder? I didn't even listen. So good.
It's so good. It's such a good card, but it's utilized in these decks like so very much because of its power. Look at their hands. It doesn't look like a Riftbound game. You can't tell me it does because there's so many cards in their hand, but they have such low costs that this becomes this battle of wits.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think this is going to be a charm onto the Sona, met with a Defy. No real surprises
with
there.
A Defy.
Another Defy. Powerspyke said, I just don't have another Defy. What am I going to do in this moment? The Sona's going to be pulled up into that battle with Irelia.
Sona!
7 might, 2/4. But we have 3 runes available, so we could...
Is there more? Can we save Sona? She was incremental last game. I think that she's important to have around.
How is it that we have played a whole game with body runes and we haven't talked about Punch First?
We haven't.
Punch
we haven't
First
had the chance.
exists and it's in hand.
We could punch. We could pack a big one.
We have double discipline punch. Yeah. It's
and
there we go.
Comes.
First punch of the series onto that Sona. Bumps her up to 9, playing into 7 right now. Met with a discipline.
Oh my goodness gracious. This is just going back and forth forever. Another discipline. We're really low on runes for Powerspyke now, but we do have 2 standing.
So discipline pumps us up to 10 in total into the 9. We do have a counter discipline for Powerspyke. Low on runes for Yoguruichi as well.
Yep.
There we are, counter discipline.
There it is.
The foiling on those disciplines looks so good under these lights, by the way.
It really does. Yeah, they're really snazzy.
It makes me think they're in a nightclub. It's like the neon lights behind them.
It does. You know? They look a little less fearsome, a little like they're going down the club.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wop, 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 wop.
Defy.
Oh, no. Do I have to take it back now? What?
You got to go backwards, I'm sorry. But we're making some... There are big decisions to be made here. Who's going to take this? Oh my goodness! Huge. So we've used, of course, the ability of our equipment there just to bring Irelia back to the base instead.
Yeah, Guardian Angel doing a huge amount of work in that moment, but it's a big win for Powerspyke. Holds on to the Monastery of Harada. Can now look to buff the Stellarcorn, move it in, get a double card draw. Is down to only 5 runes. Punch First, incredibly costly, having to pay those 2 body powers. But from this moment, Powerspyke now in really strong position. The buffs on the Sona have expired, and yes, Powerspyke will very kindly take those off for us. But sitting at 5, can move to 6 this turn, and then is just a double hold or a double conquer away
I'm going to say it.
Getting to 8.
This is the turning point of the game. That Sona surviving.
Oh, huge, yeah.
Huge. She alone on that battlefield is making this for Powerspyke. The low rune kind of leftovers from that turn matter not when she can bring them back, and I think that's what you've got to take into consideration when you're using these. It's like, but then if I don't have Sona, I won't have access to these at the end of my turn. So actually, I think it's a net profit if you think about it that way, with the amount of runes that you get to spend each turn and then have them back at the end of the turn ready for those spell-slinging combats.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Interesting choice here by Powerspyke. Is going to retreat everything to base. Buffed up the Sunlight Guardian and is then going to look for a double conquer.
I love that.
On the next turn. Yeah, it's one of those things where often you'll see newer players be like, oh, I can just hold. I'll just go for the hold. I have enough combat tricks. I can try and work my way through it. Just get out. You are so far away from losing.
Yeah.
Yoguruichi needs 3 turns to get there. Just wait.
Just wait.
There's no special.
There's no rush.
Get 5 extra points for Yoguruichi. So he's going to go in with the Stellarcorn Herder and with the Irelia. Draws a card, gets 2 points. Where are we going from here? Has the Siren if he wants to move that Stellarcorn back to base.
I don't know if it's worth it. I think you've got to put at least something in there. We're going to Charm, okay.
Where would you go with the Charm? Is it Sona again? Feels like Sona is less important now.
I don't think so. Sona's there now, and you're not going to have enough time to deal with it, but admittedly, it is one of the better units to take out. It's got the higher natural strength without buffs, right? So it is the Sona moving in, and yeah, just allowing that to go now. We don't need it as much right now, right? We just need to take both of these battlefields and win. Yoguruichi's going to try and squeeze Powerspyke's resources this turn to try and make that much more difficult.
Yeah, I think if you're trying to defend the Sona there, you're really only looking at an on guard, which I can't remember Powerspyke playing, or a punch first. And if you're playing a punch first, that's 2 more runes that you're recycling. It gives you less resources for the next turn. You're aiming to win next turn.
Yes.
You don't want to be using, as you say, all of your resources now protecting a unit that really has done her duty, has done her job. It's Sona has been speaking only to Powerspyke, it seems. First time I've seen this addition into a Lee Sin deck, and it's kind of, she's mute in League of Legends, and one of her lines is only you can hear me, summoner. So perhaps Powerspyke had a harmonious voice before the tournament, being like, oh, I'll just put a Sona in here.
This is it. This is the play, and I think this is what we expect from these high-level players, right? We're 3-0 going in on this, and you've got to expect this round 4 to be showing the best of the best, and an imperative part of Lee Sin is being able to constantly put the pressure on your opponent during their turn. Yeah. And Sona feels so good for that. It surprises me that I didn't think of it. Now I feel like I've been stupefied.
I don't think we can blame ourselves here. We were prepping 50 decks. You know, we had to prep all of the decks, and I know there aren't 50. Oh, well, there probably are.
There probably are.
Reddy was telling me that we should add Caitlyn into Irelia lists, and I'm counting that as a whole separate deck.
Let's do it.
It's not, it doesn't
It'll make
work.
us feel better at least.
Does not work, Reddy. If you're watching at home, probably still are. It doesn't work, mate. It's not as good as these decks.
It's not worth it. Yeah. But this is spice, and I like to see it. I love to see the innovation that everyone's bringing. Lee Sin is definitely an underdog of the competition, and I think, you know, Powerspyke really could be going for that best of, or even further with such an interesting build.
Widely regarded as for fun tier, like a best of at best, right? The way of seeing the meta and understanding that you can get to this position, obviously incredible stuff from Powerspyke. Don't know what their matchups have been before this, so it could be that they've only played into advantageous matchups, but Into and Irelia is having a great time overall. Saw them counting out some of their mana, some of their energy. Thinking about it, is a 3-team move into the Sunken Temple.
Okay.
Is going to get the Stellacorn Herder trigger. Might just look for the hold. Is still far enough ahead to do so. The Lucian will ready after the Conquer. They have a switch of focus right now, as I believe it's Yoguruichi who is taking their time, thinking about if they want to react to this advance, to this showdown at all. This
is the pinnacle moment. If Yoguruichi doesn't make the right decisions here, the game could be over. Well, but we're going to allow that. The card draw is not defied in this instance, to use a term that doesn't work in-game, but does work in real life. Up to the 7, and now we just need to take that other battlefield. Lucian, of course, readies, but still I'm not quite seeing a way to take that battlefield from Irelia unless I'm missing something.
I think the concept now is stick here, don't use your runes. I saw perhaps an Emperor's Divide in hand, a Lonely Power, which obviously doesn't do too much, a Thwonk, a Discipline. Is there a punch first? Because we have enough bodies for 2 punch firsts, which would be huge.
I didn't personally see one, but it doesn't mean it's not there. No.
A Sterax. Okay, so we have, in terms of reactions, we have Discipline, Thwonk, or in terms of interactions on the opposing turn, not all of these are reactions. So we have Thwonk, we have Discipline, and we have a Sterax.
Gonna have a look at the discard pile. Really important in this game as well. Checking what your opponent has gone through. It could be really imperative to your decision making. Going in for, of course, yes, we can go ahead and just make that battlefield even stronger with our Lee Sin champion.
Gives us that +2 on the Sunlit Guardian, who does have shield as well, remember.
Ooh, hiding a card as well. Holding. Knowing that they can't take that Irelia down yet, doing what we saw in game 1, right? We're going, okay, well, I can't take the win right now. I know I can't take the win right now, so instead I'm going to make it so you can't take the win, my friend.
But out of energy, out of runes, no Sona to revivify. That's a word that is very easy to trip over.
That was actually really impressive that you went for that. I would skirt around the word personally.
Oh, I can do that as well. No Sona to revitalize our runes.
There we go.
With her Song of Perseverance, her aria of joy.
Has unfortunately left us with nothing more this turn. And again, taking a look at what your opponent has played, we know from game 1, kind of what to expect with those kind of defy battles. But actually, we've used a lot of resources on both sides already. We're really coming towards the end of the game. Going for a rebuke there, by the looks of things.
Yeah. What are we knocking out?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
I think it's the Lee Sin.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep.
So
we have the reaction. We have
the Emperor's Divide.
Emperor's Divide there, so we can move some friendly units back to base.
So the way that I would have, the line I think I would have gone for as Yoguruichi is you bump the Lee Sin, because that takes 4 power.
Yeah.
4 might, sorry, away, plus the Lee Sin's might, the 6. And then if you're looking to go in for the combat showdown, that gives you the greatest might gain, right?
Yeah.
Emperor's Divide, I guess the question is, are you just looking for the highest might? There's an argument that Lucian at this moment isn't actually the one that you want to bring back. Rebuke, bring the Lee Sin out, take Stellarcorn Herder out and the Sunlit Guardian back, and then go for the showdown on your next turn. Yoguruichi can only get to 7, can't win on this turn.
No, that's the struggle right now for both players. They are both trying to sit in this top spot, but go, actually, no, I'm not going to let you take this battlefield. It's mine. So having to take...
Oh, it's any number on Emperor's Divide. In my head, it was 2, so it just bounces the ball.
Being able to bounce all of them back, actually kind of nice. You then have flexibility when you're going into your next combat, next turn, to potentially actually get to that 8. So actually, I don't dislike this, being able to bring everything back and then split it between the 2 battlefields and take hold.
So
it's a good tactic.
A huge pivotal moment in the game. Right, really well played by Powerspyke. Do you want to know why I think Emperor's Divide is only 2 units?
Why?
Because I play it in my Ornn deck.
Oh my goodness, with the Ornn again!
I only ever have to use it on Ornn and Tiana. So there's only ever 2 units of the battlefield. Okay, so
there's any number of units, so we were able to bring it all back, which actually I think has really worked in Powerspyke's favor. Yoguruichi fell into the trap.
Yeah, use the runes for the rebuke, use the rebuke as well, which could have been so impactful on this next turn. Did need to try and find a way to mitigate some of the power, some of the might that was on that battlefield, but it is going to be really tricky. You saw Yoguruichi moving the Stellarcorn Herder in, trying to get that extra card draw. Has the Siren as well if they want to move it out, but you're using an energy. You only have 5 left. How many of those resources do you need on what is likely to be the final turn of the game, where Powerspyke on this Lee Sin could be going 4-0. Turn is passed.
Here we go. The runes are being set. We ready our units. And here comes the showdown of showdowns to see whether Lee Sin can take a clean 4-0 sweep here in Bologna, round 4 of the regional qualifier.
So we still have that Sterak's. I think we drew a Lucian.
Okay, nice one. We're going for the buff on the Lucian.
Buff the Lucian.
In they go.
Go in, look for the first conquer, which would give us a card draw here. Need to obviously conquer both battlefields to take the win. The runes kept up by
There's
Yoguruichi.
A lot of potential here.
So Thwonk, Lucian, Lee Sin, Lonely Poro, Sterak's Gauge.
There's not a lot of reactive
It's the discipline in the Sterak's, really.
It's literally it, isn't it? And with such a big hand, you're kind of like, oh, that's not as many as I would like to have against Yoguruichi, knowing that they can do the same.
Yes. Yes, okay.
Okay, so we've...
Defiant Dance. We didn't see the Defiant Dance being played. -2 on the Sunlit Guardian, +2 on the Stellarcorn Herder. Discipline.
A discipline to buff that up again by another couple.
Well, the Defiant Dance actually targeted the Sunlit Guardian, it seems.
Right.
For the next attack.
Oh,
planning for the next move here. Discipline onto the Lucian will get us a draw. We'll buff him up by 2. Puts him to 6 in total. 1 more than the Stellarcorn. This conquer vital to this turn for Powerspyke. Likely to go all in.
They've got to go all in. They've got to go all the way. They've got to take this from Yoguruichi. Yoguruichi's actually limited on their units right now, which is very pressing. So if Powerspyke can take this, they've got to go all in.
Yoguruichi sitting on not great options here. Double not so fast in hand. A rebuke. A Guardian Angel, which just can't be played. And a Stellarcorn and a couple of others maybe ride the winds, can't quite tell what we're looking at, but it's a lot of don't target my stuff.
But not a lot of
hey, I'll buff my stuff.
Yeah, in a combat. And that's the problem here, is that Lee Sin definitely has the advantage in that respect, because buffing units is exactly what Lee Sin loves to do.
We get the Sunken Temple trigger here as well.
Okay, I didn't quite catch what they were in that draw, but again, just flourishing the hand with so many options. Can we get to the other battlefield? Can we take that just final step? We've got the 8 points, but we must have both battlefields under control in order to win.
Are we bringing the Lucian back? Are we bringing the Lucian back? Currently sitting at, it's 7 points because of the card draw from the Conquer.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. So the Lucian gets ready from the Conquer, Emperor's Divide to bring just the Lucian back, and then go for the Conquer on the top. Powerspyke on Lee Sin, superlative play.
Lee Sin centered and ready and set for the win, taking round 4 by storm. An underdog, but no longer. I imagine everyone will be respecting Lee Sin a little bit more after that showing.
Yeah, truly, truly incredible stuff.